Now let's recap. So, on the 27th of March, I had a very important meeting with my lawyers and, most importantly, my King's Counsel. So, they were working very hard on the first piece of legal action, which was to look at the Act and regulations and, based on the feedback from you, the people, have a look at areas that we are not happy with and areas that could potentially be challenged in the courts. So my lawyers were working very hard. You might remember I had a meeting with them on the 10th of March, so a couple of days after that disastrous state election. That's when I had the funds and ability to go forward with the legal action. So fast forward a few weeks. Yes, it took a little bit longer. The wheels of justice turn slowly. But on the 27th of March, I sat down and had a meeting with my legal team, and we ran through some very important legal strategies. So the first thing from that meeting that we did was send a urgent official legal letter to the police commissioner, and I have a copy here. I'm not allowed to post it. I know I saw some people saying, "What letter? She said she sent a letter, but we haven't seen it. Show us the docs." And I understand that. And I would upload everything, all the communications with my lawyers if I could. But although I have waived my client privilege, they have privilege with me. So I have a gentleman's agreement. I've shaken their hand. This is a very high profile case, and lawyers get a little bit nervous sometimes because they are acting for me as the client, and I am a public client and I'm acting for you, the people. So it gets very hard sometimes for me because I am a journalist. That's my vocation, but I can't share everything because I respect the legal profession and I respect the agreements, and I've shaken their hand. I'm a gentleman after all. So this letter was sent to the Commissioner of Police shortly after that meeting on the 27th of March. Urgent. I'll just read some of it out. I've asked my lawyer if I can read some of it out, and they approve. So we act for Miss Kate Fantanell, who, as you may be aware, has a prominent interest and is an activist in relation to Western Australia's Firearms Act 2024 and Regulations 2024. Our client also has the support and can be said to represent the interests of a great number of firearm owners. So that's the first part of the letter, and then it goes into some legal stuff. The thing that I would like to read out, my lawyers sent this, and this has got my King's Counsel's name on it. So we're sending in the big guns. Specifically, we seek the following confirmations. You will reopen the buybacks to include the newly banned firearms, including compensation to any firearm owners who have already or will shortly need to suffer the loss of their firearms. And number two, undertake not to take any precipitous action against affected firearm owners in the circumstances mentioned above, or take prejudicial action in the future against firearm owners who have acted in good faith. They are the two key points that we served in this letter to the police commissioner, which the police minister was also notified about. We also specifically state at the end of this letter that we are looking at launching legal action, and therefore it was a stopgap measure. That's what this was about, because the 31st of March, as we all know, was the deadline for surrendering or disposing of those firearms mentioned there without compensation. And as we know, the market has crashed. It's very hard to sell these firearms for a fair market price when the government has crashed the market with these laws. So they're the things that my lawyers wrote to the police commissioner about shortly after my meeting on the 27th of March. I also went away, and you might recall, I wrote an open letter to the new Police Minister, Reece Whitby. This was something that my legal team highly recommended because he is the new police minister. We've said goodbye to the old one, goodbye, good riddance. Hope the door doesn't hit you on the way out. So that's something that my lawyers gave to me as my responsibility as part of the legal action. While they sent this official legal letter served to the police commissioner, I went away and I rallied the troops. I rallied you to write to the new police minister and explain to him the position that we are now in because of his predecessor and because of the new laws that came into effect on the 31st of March. I wrote that letter. I published it publicly, an open letter to the police minister. And thank you to everyone who also wrote to him. Thank you for sending what you wrote on to me. This is a team effort. I cannot do it by myself. And that together, your letters, the official legal letter, had an effect. So fast forward to early next week, this week, losing track of time. On Tuesday, the police minister announced he would reopen the buyback compensation, the compensation scheme. And he also said he apologized. He apologized to us. And that is something, can you imagine any time in the last 4 years, Minister Paul Papalia apologizing to us? So I take that as a good sign. It shows that he has come to the table in some regard. He can't ignore an official legal letter. He cannot ignore that. He cannot ignore all the emails that you sent him and I sent him too. They now know that the lawyers are involved and that the people, because of your generous donations, they can see how much money we've raised in that war chest. They are taking this seriously now. So he came out on Tuesday and announced he would also compensate firearm owners for the push-button release firearms and the lever actions above 5 rounds, and he extended that till mid-April, along with a 9-month program for those who are not going to be able to comply in time and with the gun limits. So, is that a win? I didn't celebrate when I heard the news. My lawyers called me. They were very excited. They were fired up. They'd had received a response. So there's things going on. They talk. The justice side of town often talks to politics in WA. So there's a lot going on. But I didn't pop the champagne. I didn't celebrate because while I know, and I heard some people express relief, it has bought us time, crucial time. I know it got down to the wire there, but it bought us time. It also I just think of this young gentleman who bought his first firearm to help his dad on the farm, a push-button release, only for it to be banned and no compensation offered. He is now in a position where he can at least have the funds to buy something else. Those are the people that I thought about when I heard this news, and I was happy that there is something now for people, because before we had nothing. There was nothing. But it's still not a big win. And I did see there are a lot of people and organizations taking credit and clout chasing, I suppose. And that to me is a reflection of the culture of the organizations and some of the people involved. If someone would like to explain to me in the chat how an organization that backs one party publicly ignores other minor parties that are supportive of firearms freedoms completely, backs one horse that has no power at all in the new parliament, none. The Greens have more power, how they were the ones who moved the Overton window on this. I would really love someone to explain it to me, but this is the culture of the communities. So it's hard to be super excited. And I did have a letter from someone, Terry. I hope he doesn't mind me. I won't share his last name. But I have heard that people are still not happy. And I'm not happy either, because my whole purpose and my whole belief is that these laws should be ruled invalid and we should go back to the drawing board completely with proper consultation, genuine consultation with the people sitting at the table who represent the interests of the people, not just the organisations, not just the clubs, not just the rangers, not just the gun shops, but we the people. I would love for that consultation process to be reopened, start from scratch, maybe reverse to the old act for the time being. This is something that I believe in, but unfortunately, because of the culture in Western Australia, the political situation in Western Australia, we do have a Labor government again for another 4 years. So we're not going to get those big changes that we all were wishing and dreaming about in the lead up to the state election. We are not there. But because of legal action, and because of you, the people supporting me as the client, my name is on this letter. I have done this publicly for you. I have put my professional career, my reputation at risk because this is a fight that I truly believe is worth fighting for. And it's an injustice on the people of Western Australia, how we have been treated by the government. So thank you to Police Minister Reece Whitby for listening to us, for taking heed of our concerns, for listening to the people, for taking the boot of the state off our neck for just a little bit to give us time, and for my lawyers to go away. We are working on so many different angles and so many different cases. They are still working for me. I'm still getting the bills. And we are preparing for the next step. But this was the second step, really, because I couldn't act without the advice of the King's Counsel. And this was his first piece of advice to me that he delivered last week. So this is where we are at. This is where we are at in WA. And I will acknowledge the concerns. So the new compensation scheme that has been reopened, I was against the first one. I looked at those prices and they categorized the price value according to how long it had been registered in the state, 6 years more or less. It was not fair market value, and this one isn't either. This is something that has been raised with me already. So I understand that we're not popping the champagne, and I'm certainly not popping the champagne. But I do feel if we had not done this, what position would we be in? We would have nothing. So that's where we're at. So we are, another update I can share with you, we are looking at the next steps, the next cases that we can file because the new laws are in effect. It's after the 31st of March. These new laws are in effect. They've reopened the compensation scheme because they've listened to our concerns and they've listened to the legal letter. But that doesn't mean the battle is over. We still have things that we can challenge in the Act and regulations, and that is something my legal team is working on now. So please keep sending me your stories, your information. If something happens to you under the new Act, for example, if you are rejected a firearms license because of your views, attitudes, and opinions, because of your physical ability, because of your dwelling circumstances, there's things in the Act now about that. How you live can now be used against you. If you have been falsely accused of domestic violence without having a restraining order issued on you, just a claim now, they can use that to take away your firearms. So there's a lot of things in the new Act and regulations that because it's in effect, if you are affected, please contact me, ladyliberty.walegal@gmail.com. I still have a lot of emails to get through. I'm sorry, I've been on the road again. I've tried to reply to some today. So please bear with me. I will get back to you at some stage. It's a lot. I'm one person. I'm not an organisation. I don't have a team. And my lawyers are purely focused on preparing for the next steps. And I talk to them regularly, sharing your stories. So please bear with me. But please contact me if something happens to you under the new Act, because we have this war chest now, and this is what it's for, to fund legal cases. And I reiterate again, I've said this a few times now, I've signed a contract with my lawyers. I had paid for the letter of opinion, which was the first cab off the rank. I have now paid for the legal letter that was sent to the police commissioner My lawyers are on retainers and we are preparing for the next step. So that's the position that I'm in. And this is a long fight, right? This is a 4-year battle that we are going to be dealing with. And the wheels of justice turn slowly, but we are acting as quickly as we can in the system that allows us. So I think that was all for my legal update. Let me just check. I had to write down notes. The other thing that I will advise is please keep sending your emails to the police minister, like Terry did. He explained how the compensation is not enough and how the market is still tanked. So, what position are we in that's better than before? Only a slightly better position. And he also raised some issues with his own personal situation. And these are the kinds of things that the new minister needs to see and needs to be aware of, because you can be guaranteed he'll be getting different advice from the police and the police commissioner about this. The police commissioner has said that they are unapologetic for the process, and now we've had an apology from the police minister. So there's politics things going on. There are things that I would love to share with you that we've also done outside of this, but I have a gentleman's agreement and I cannot share everything. I can't put all the cards on the table because the commies are watching and I have to be very careful. So it's a difficult position to be in. I'm a journalist, I serve you, the people, but I also respect the justice system and the legal team. So, okay,